And there we go. We are live. We're live. We're in a different place. We're in a different country. We're in a different location, but we are live. Celtic news never stops. Right. There's been some, let's get some of the comments in, and there's been some nice breaking developments this afternoon. Just check the sound's okay. Someone's tell me in the comment section that the sound is fine. And I've been moved to the spare room and my brother's. Anyway, let's go for this. Let's get some comments up first of all. John Shirley. Joseph is in the house. Vincent, Merv, Paul, and Lorna is in the house also, as well as Andrew, just so far from Melbourne, Australia. That will get that one kept up. Something today, get a heater on Buzz. Here you loud enough. Good. Yep. He's home, so yeah, we've got the heater on, and he's put me up into his little man cave place. Anyway, sounds great. Hail, Paul Beard is in the house. Right. We'll go to the Celtic charity stuff first of all. There's a couple of bits of news that I want to go through this evening. Obviously, go to that one. Yeah, the sleep out in Derry was fantastic to see that at the weekend this year as well. Friday night saw the first of 3 Celtic sleep out events this festive season. Over 30 participants took part in the inaugural initiative in Derry. This is the 3rd event in Ireland following the success in the sleep outs in Sligo and Donegal in 21 and 22. It is all Irish charities that will benefit for the Sleep Out in Ireland, which is absolutely fantastic. And the people that took part, the participants, managed to raise in the region of £15,000 for the 2023 Christmas appeal. Celtic have put out the fundraiser. The fundraising is still ongoing, and there's still plenty of time to support the Derry Sleep Out team by making a donation via the Celtic Park website. The event took place in Derry's own Celtic Park, which is now synonymous with Gaelic sports, but the city owes its origin and name to the football past Derry Celtic FC in 1894. 1894. So hats off to everyone that took part in that in Derry. That's a little bit of good news for Celtic. And Sydney, there's only one Sydney. Sydney Divine. Sydney Divine. Right, we'll get to that in a minute. There is a one bit of news. Celtic, this is a story that was kicking about in the summer. And a big bit of Celtic transfer news. Celtic could be in line for a big chunk of money this January window as the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, and Liverpool are finally going to get their hands on Jeremy Frimpong by the looks of it. Celtic got rid of him, I think it was 2021, they got rid of him, but they had a whopping 30% sell-on fee, transfer fee, when he moves to another club. So that's going to be a big amount of money because they're talking in the region of anything, in the region of about £50 million for the transfer of Frimpong. During his time at Celtic, Frimpong made 36 appearances. He only scored 3 goals. And it was kind of strange because Frimpong, he was in and out the team. He wasn't sort of a mainstay at the team at his time at Celtic, but we sold him for big money. We did sell him for big money. We sold him in January 2021. And since he's moved to Germany, he's made 80 appearances in the Bundesliga, scoring 12 goals since then. And it looks like a big move is on for the player. So hats off to him for finally getting his big move. And Celtic are just going to be cashing in on that one. Anyway, let's get to the one you're all talking about. Hail, Paul Baird. Let's get some comments up first of all. Paul Imley, wait a minute, because I need to share this on Twitter. I need to share on Twitter. Copy. Seconds just while I do this. It's probably going to ask me to sing back in. But I'll do it on my phone whilst I am talking. That'll be a lot easier. Right, get some comments up first. Patrick Toner is from Belfast. Smell the glove is online. Who really cares? Is let the cat out of the bag. Sydney. There's only one Sydney. Will he be? That's the next bit of news we're going to talk about in just a second. Hail from Brecon. Stephen's in the house coming in from Ireland. Hope you get a ticket for the match of the weekend. So do I. I just need to speak to my brother because he's just in the door. First person to say, oh my days. Remember that. Oh my days. That was the one and on Frimpong, wasn't it? It was, yeah, that was his saying. "Oh my days," when he played for Celtic. "Oh my days, that'll be great money." Ah, Frimpong came for injuries. Get Sydney signed. Alonso. Alonso, Alonso's changed my game. Fran Alonso talking about the women's team. Frimpong is doing great. Frimpong's doing fantastically great. But let's talk about a striker that fell out of love with his club last season. Even his dad, I noticed there's a publication just came out this afternoon. I don't know if it's just online. Where is the story? But we'll talk about the story first of all. Even his dad was saying, look, he should be benched. Should be benched at Bologna. Um, when you look at Celtic are reported in the early stages ahead of the January transfer window, with a familiar linked name to the Scottish champions. Yes, we shall remember we are still champions. The club have made an interest in taking Bologna striker Sydney Van Hooijdonk um, on loan. On loan. His dad Pierre is a fantastic player for Celtic. Pierre, there is only one Pierre. That guy could hit a free kick. He was probably the best kick taker at Celtic since John Collins. Lanky, he's in the house. Even though I'm glad we've got some normal football back this weekend. Well done, Scotland. Yeah, I spoke about Scotland this morning. We might talk about that later on. Celtic Adidas Originals range. What are underwhelming? Yeah, I thought that also. I was in the Adidas shop back home, and then I went into some of the shops here to see some of the Adidas stuff, and it's rank rotten. Alonso gets Real Madrid jobs and takes Frimpong with him. That'll be interesting. That would be interesting. And the one and only Kaiser is in the house. Let's get back to Frimpong. Frimpong is the chance to impress the Serie A side. He was given a chance to impress the Serie A side following a successful loan last season in Holland. The 23-year-old netted 16 goals in 35 games. But this season, he's played less than 45 minutes after falling out with the team and the manager. In terms of going forward for the player, I mean, they are willing to put him out on loan. It is Celtic's way to go out and get a player on loan and then maybe even get that option to buy. I don't know if it's maybe the right one. I have said before, when you've got players that are a bit disruptive in the dressing room, when you think back to the way that Ange Postecoglou used to bring players into the club, and it's not just about how good they are on the pitch, it's the mentality of the player also. And it is the mentality of the player that we really need to be thinking about. I mean, is he in a good place after being what he's went through this season? Could it be the case that it's similar to where that Celtic sold? Could it be the case that it's similar to a player that Celtic let go to America and who's absolutely on fire in America? Can the one and only Van Hooijdonk come to Celtic and go on a complete goal scoring run? Remember, we're only getting him in on loan purely the fact that we're going to lose our two main strikers. Well, we're going to lose a lot of our front forward players due to the Asia Cup, which is in January. He's actually concerned, said Lorna. Yep, I think so also. I mean, his dad left Celtic under a bit of a cloud also back in the day. And I think for me, it is a bit of a concern. It is a bit of a concern. Where is Marco? Where is Marco? Oh, there's John. John is in the house. Cheers for that, John, just telling the world. And now everyone knows why I made a mad dash back to Scotland. Cheers for that. No worries. Thank you anyway. Thank you. Yeah. Where is Marco? Marco the man has been out in social media. If you hadn't seen this morning's live, we spoke about it this morning's live. Marco seemingly said, look, if I'm not going to get played, if I'm not going to get near the first team in Celtic, I want to go out on loan. Would it be, I mean, we spoke about that in this morning's video. So if you haven't seen that, go back to this morning's video where we talk about Marco Tilio and talking about the fact that would it be good for him to go out on loan? So anyway, let's get back to the man that we're all talking about, and it's Sydney Van Hooijdonk. The player's agent said that he's looking they are looking for space elsewhere in order to try and reignite the player's career and give him a kick start. It just says it all to me when it's the player that's the player and the management and the team that far apart and the relationship's broken down that it's they're now looking for him to go elsewhere. It does say that he is a bit disruptive. Celtic are said to be have made their first inquiry to bring the Dutch forward to Celtic. Brendan Rodgers has obviously made it no secret that the club are in the market for another striker in the January transfer window, with both Kyogo Furuhashi and O set to play in the Asia Cup. We spoke about that. The Celtic manager has feels that we're a bit short on forwards. We all know that. We'll go back to the summer transfer window. We'll go back to the summer transfer window where we all knew we needed a striker back then. Good Scottish tea, not the boss. Yeah, good cup of Scottish tea. How I've missed Scottish water. Anyway, the club are eyeing up early moves for Van Hooijdonk. It could be available with an option for the short term, with a potential view to more permanent fixture. I don't think it's maybe a more permanent thing. Is Celtic going down the right route? Tell me in the comments. Do you think Celtic should be going out and getting a striker? It's a hard time of year to buy a striker. It is a hard time of year. His trouble says Graham Hard. I don't want him. Congratulations, Baz. Don't even go there. Right, no, but thank you for that. Oh, who else? Mister Right, Graham Hardy says he's trouble. I don't want him. I think he's trouble as well. But Brendan Rodgers has had a few players in his career that was trouble. If you remember Luis Suarez was no saint when he was at Liverpool, and he turned his career around. It's Kev not handing you the Kev's to be the hand of God tonight, John. Yeah, he's downstairs like a beer. I'm on the tea because I've had too much. I had too much for the last couple of days. Frankie says the start of the season was more hype for Tilio compared to Palma. Football works in mysterious ways. Does it work in mysterious ways? I think there was a lot of people because there was a lot of people from Australia that was bigging him up. Lanky. I think there was a lot of the English connection. You know, it's an English language connection. Palmer came in as an unknown player with a big reputation of an up-and-coming player in South America, and he's highly thought of down there, highly thought of. And I thought it was quite funny this morning that some sites that I looked at got the translation a bit wrong for the injury that Palmer's supposedly carrying. Let's get some more of the comments up. Should get Kev up in. He'll never come on. He looks about 20 years old. We need a left back and a goalkeeper. That situation is one that we really need to get sorted out and quick because, to be honest, we're not that far away till the January transfer window, and even if we go past the January transfer window and Joe Hart hasn't signed a new contract, we've always known that we need. When we look, let's just look at the Champions League. And although Joe Hart did make some good saves, we knew we need a goalkeeper. We've known we've needed a goalkeeper for some time, and Benji Siegrist, for me, should be out the door in January. He should be out the door in January, if you ask me. He's getting nowhere near the team. We need to trim the squad, and him and a little unknown James McCarthy, whatever happened to him, he needs to be going out the door also. Samuel McQuaid says it's not for me. If he doesn't get games, he's well disrupting the dressing room, just like his old man. Exactly, Samuel. That's the thing. That's the only worrying thing. That's all saying. Penny Disney dropped too far. Anyway, yeah, he's too much like his dad to me. His dad was a bit of I mean, he was a great football player, but in the dressing room, you know, he thought he was bigger than everybody else. Martin says we need to be aiming higher and show ambition. Get players embedded in for next season's Champions League. Exactly. You hit the coin right. You hit it right on the head. Martin, we need to get people in that is looking forward. Getting people in on a short-term loan just now is it's going back to the Celtic of the early 2000s. Getting players in on loan like that, I don't think it's not the way that we should be going. Sydney, something is telling me I'm talking about like Guidetti. Well, there you go. There's only one George Guidetti. I'd rather have George Cadet than John Cadet just now. Anyway, we'll probably end up with. Oh, please. Hey, Timo Weir's playing quite good now, is he not? He's playing good. Is he not? Who Where is he? Is he not back in America playing or something? I can't remember. Ollie Burke. Ollie Burke. That was a player that turned out to be rubbish. Let me just say who really cares says honestly, state of Scotland to make a jersey. Mine Kyogo's on international duty. Do you think would do that though? Because he is getting a team for South. He is getting a game for South Korea. He came on, although he did come on as a sub. He's getting used sparingly in international level. But is that just because of his age? You know, it's all about these prospects. But if you're good enough at the international level, you should be really doing something. Stephen says some of the business done last transfer market was shocking. I pretty much agree with you that. Too many prospects, and I think the fact that the board were under the illusion that a lot more first team players were going to leave, which says more about the previous manager than anything. Because remember, you can go back to the Scottish Cup final when Ange Postecoglou was asked about what he was going to do with his future, and his hit back was, "Look, the fact is, a lot of these players on this pitch will not be at Celtic next season." So he must have known that he was under the illusion that a lot of these players were going to leave. And it comes down to the one thing: there's only the one common denominator, and that's Ange Postecoglou. As great as he was as a manager, I don't think he had the backing of all the dressing room. But that's another story, another day. Paul Baird, a loan deal might be all right for the rest of the season. We're going to have to get someone in anyway, Paul. We know that. And I think it's all about the type of player that we bring in, and can he come in? One, can he come in and hit the ground running? Two, is he game fit? Because there's no use bringing in a player that is not game fit. There is a winter shutdown for a week or something this year. There's no use bringing him in if he's only played 45 minutes. It's a bit like bringing Nat Phillips in at the beginning of the season. We brought Nat Phillips in, and Liverpool said, right, don't play him in the Rangers game because he's not fit enough. And we're going to bring in a player that has only played 45 minutes all season. Is he still training on the pitch? Is he still training with the first team squad? I don't know if any of you watched the Beckham documentary, but when Beckham was chucked out of the team at Madrid, he still turned up for training every day, and I mean, he trained himself for weeks and weeks. And then it was the Real Madrid players that begged the manager to say, "Look, we need Beckham back in the team because we're absolutely dire just now." Is Van Hooijdonk that type of player that is shown up he's shown up in training every day and shown himself to be a good player? This is the questions that needs asked. There's no use bringing in a player that is, that hasn't played a lot of football. He's played 45 minutes of football. Doesn't look like he's played any reserve team football or any type of football this year. So he's not game fit, not match fit. Bringing him in could be a big risk. Could be a big risk. That's the only thing that I'm saying. It is bringing him in, but anyway, Baz, did you get the heating on? Yes, he's just put it on 20 minutes ago because we've been on there for 18 minutes. He put it in. John, pop down to the site one day and I'll meet you. Yes, I know you're in Glenorchy, I know what site you're at. So yeah, I'll pop down later at the end of the week. I'll come there and see you. We have one. We just need goalkeeper. Scales is good as backup for left back. Also, Ralston can play at time. Goalkeeper. We do need a goalkeeper. It's urgent. It's if there was a flashing bell thing in here. I mean, there has to be an alarm bell going off somewhere at Celtic Park saying we need a goalkeeper. We need a goalkeeper because Bain is okay as a backup keeper. But we need a goalkeeper. It's urgent. We need to be forward thinking. Bada will be gone and Marco could get his chance, says Martin McKenna. There's a lot of people who've been speaking about that, about Abada going at Christmas, but I don't think he will. I personally don't think he will. He's not the type of player he knows that he knows if he can get back into the Celtic team, which he will. And this is my thinking behind it. He's a clever lad, and he knows he wants to play at the highest level. If he leaves Celtic just now, and if Abada was to leave Celtic, he's going to go to a mid-table club down in England or something like that. And that's not for the best for his career. He knows if Celtic get into the Champions League again next season, and he can do it at the highest level, which we'd hoped he was going to do this season again. Remember, he was one of the brighter stars in the team last season in the Champions League. He knows if he could do it at the highest level, he'll get a move to a top club. Not a mid-table English club. I mean, he'll get a pick of his clubs around Europe, if he can do it in the Champions League. And that's why I think Leo Labada will stay at Celtic until at least the summer. If he goes, he goes. It's just one of those things, and he's not going to go because of this nonsense with the Green Brigade and things like that. He's going to go for a football decision, and the fact that the manager has met up with him already, he went out with dinner with him to make sure that everything's fine. You got to remember, a lot of the players, the majority of the players, don't have social media and don't look at social media. Lil Abada, his own social media is locked, so that it's only people that follow him that he lets follow him. So I think it'll be okay. I definitely think it'll be okay. As for Marco Tilio, I think Marco could be the one that will leave during the transfer window, and he suggested that he wants to leave. Something he says, I am still haunted by Joe 1 minute behind the goal line. Yeah, even 1 meter behind the goal. You had to go and ruin the night, didn't you? It was going so well as well. You had to remember that. And then my cup of teas went cold. I just don't know what to say after that. It was like everything was going well. It was nice and it was all pretty much positive. And then something today had to remember about Joe Hart trying to make a save, 1 meter behind his line, pushing the ball up into the roof of the net. We'll move on swiftly for that, I think. Samuel, he says, Big Gigi is a better striker than him, and he could get in front of Kyogo. Is he better than? Well, he obviously is better than Hooijdonk because he's playing every game and he's in America. Any word on the Green Brigade get back into Celtic Park? No, and I don't think they will be in this weekend. I might actually go into the CSA and see the lads and have a wee talk with them and see what's happening. At the weekend, even if I don't get a ticket, they'll be sitting in the CSA anyway, so I might just go and watch the game in the CSA. We only have one short-term loan to cover our 4 injured centre backs. We did that. We only had the one player, but we thought we were going to get players back quicker than we did. But then other ones got injured. So yes, Martin, we did only that. We should look Lennon Miller from Motherwell. That's an interesting one. We should look at that Lennon Miller from Motherwell. Won't turn down the Asia Cup. No, I don't believe he will either. There's no reason for him to turn down the Asia Cup. He's got a chance of going to. It's their Euros. It's the big thing for them. It's a bit like I was saying to Callum McGregor. Look, Callum, don't go to Germany next year because you might get injured or you might not be able to perform at the top level. Of course, Callum's going to be like that. By the way, we're going to Germany, and good luck to Scotland going to Germany. I think they'll get their totties a lot in Germany, but we'll see. Samuel says, we'll be away with his country, so without strikers. Yes, we will. And Nat, it's turning into a right cheer fest this tonight, isn't it? Nat Phillips will be off also. Welcome back to Scotland, and this is Celtic News. This is cheery as chips. Talking about chips, I'm getting a chippy after this. We need a big clear out in January, maybe 2 or 3 players in. I don't think we necessarily need 2 or 3 players in, David. I think we need some quality players in. If we're looking forward, if we're sitting down with Brendan Rodgers and we're sitting down with Gavin Strachan and John Kennedy, and we're sitting and we're going, right, what positions do we really need cover for? And improving. It's not cover. That's the wrong word. What areas of the pitch do we need to improve on? Looking forward, looking not just beyond the end of this season, not just to get us over the line and win 3 in a row, is to look into the next season, look into the Champions League, and look into the season after that. And it's definitely bringing in a goalkeeper. Definitely need to bring in a goalkeeper. And I would even say another striker. We need to permanently sign another striker. It's okay bringing one in on loan, but long term, we definitely need to bring those players in those positions. When you look at the left back, we've got Greg who's playing there, and he's finally getting his chance with Scotland. I think he will go to Germany with Scotland in the squad, which will be good for him. And also Tony Ralston, I think he'll make the squad also. So there'll be a good little Celtic connection going to Germany next year. But it's just whether we can get the type of players in that we need to improve ourselves for the Champions League. Because let's face it, it's okay winning in Scotland and all that comes along with that. But the improvement that we need is improved players to improve the team for the Champions League. Smell the Glove says, we don't play the league game between the 2nd of January and the 27th. The Scottish Cup is on the 20th. Yes, I know, that's because there's the winter break, which is even worse. So if we bring in players on loan in January, right at the beginning, if we manage to get them in at the beginning of January, beginning of the transfer window, we can maybe get their fitness level up, but they're not really going to be game fit. If we bring in Van Hooijdonk, he's only played 40 odd minutes. He's not going to be match fit. So then we're going to have to then bleed him into games, which isn't really solving the problem. You know, it's not solving the problem. Nat Phillips wasn't 100% fit when he came in. It took him a good 4 weeks to get up to speed. And just it is a bit of a worrying time, but it's we'll still win the league. Lanky says, I wouldn't let the Bill go, give him a new contract, even if it's 1 or 2 years. I think that's a good shout, Lanky, but I think he will see that he's at the age where he could probably go down and make a lot more money, a bit like Stuart Armstrong and everything going down south. And when he looks at the players that are in the Scotland team, I would say that he's better than some of these players that are in the Scotland team just now, and he can score goals better than some of these players in the Scotland team from in his position. I think he'll look at that and say, "I'm not going to go to Germany. I'm going to get out of Celtic because I want to play first team football." Playing at Celtic and playing in the first team used to be an ideal opportunity for him to get into the Scotland team. He got into the Scotland team when he first came to Celtic. He's now that far back out. The picture when it comes to Scotland, I think as much as it is a good idea for Celtic to try and give him that contract, I don't think he would accept it. I think he's maybe decided, or if I was a player, and you want to go and play week in, week out, you're going to say, I've got a better chance of playing for Scotland. You're going to phone the Scotland manager as well and say, look, what's my chances of actually getting in this squad? This conversation's probably already happened. At a certain level. He knows that he's not getting into the Scotland squad for a reason, and it's because he's not getting game time. So for me, in his own personal development and just for playing week in, week out, I think that we're going to lose him for nothing, which will be absolutely devastating for us because we paid good money for him. It was a 3.25 million we paid for him. But for the player himself, he can walk into any team down in that English Premiership. He could score goals week in, week in, week out from outside the box, and he'll walk into the Scotland team. He'll absolutely, he'll go right into the Scotland team. And I think Celtic will be sitting going, we should have played him more often. But it's just one of those things when you're at Celtic and you have the squad rotation. And I just don't think he will. It's just a feeling that I've got. Baz, you should have always been in live podcasts. Can't be a Baz live podcast. Just Baz. Okay, definitely. John, definitely. I'll be doing them from this little room. If you could see where I am, it's completely brilliant. I love this little room. Yeah, I'll be here for the next week anyway. So yes, the live ones are better. We need to get more people onto the live. So share it. Share. I was going to sing a share song there. I won't. Right, Mark McKenna says we should wait in the transfer market just to take one of the ones last things they can claim. Nah, just because we can, that would never happen. Guys, the signings that are brought in were a direct response to replacing top talent with no prospects, in my opinion. Replacements for Hatate, O'Reilly, Abada, typical Celtic board downgrading instead of strengthening. You've hit the nail on the head. And is there a nail here? No. But yeah, Kaiser, you've hit the nail on the head. We always bring in prospects. We bring in prospects probably a year too late. It's fine bringing in players that are saying, right, we've got someone that's going to take over from Jota. Well, sign Jota and then sign Jota's replacement 6 months later. It's as simple as that. Don't wait a year down the line. If you know that this player is going to be a Jota replacement in a year or 2 years, sign him then. Don't wait a year down the line when his transfer value maybe goes up a little bit. Somebody says, can he be asked with unfit player? A chip on his shoulder. With your enormous squad, you do that. We have a massive squad and it has to be chopped down. Gordon, I have said this many, many times on this podcast. Give the youngsters the chance. Millions of pounds walking out the door. We have to start we have to start churning out more Kieran Tierneys, more Callum McGregors, more Anthony Ralstons, players like that. When they get to a certain age, like Mikey Johnson, who hasn't done it, you have to move them on. And you have to move them on where she can still get a decent amount of money for them. Mikey Johnson's going to walk out the door for absolutely nothing, for free. And that's disappointing. Celtic might give him another year's contract. They might think in their wisdom, purely for the whole Scottish number of players that they need to have in Europe. I think they might find that they might give Mikey Johnson a year's contract, and then that'll be it. That'll be it. And then maybe sell him. Sell him in the summer with that year's contract to go. The Sydney rumours are just not good enough. We should have bought Jordan Larson when we had the chance. I think the pressure on Jordan Larson would have been immense, and the comparison. It's always a worry when you bring in players whose dads have done great things in football. Um, there's that level of expectation. When you look at the young Beckham lads, I mean, he's playing lower tier football down in England, and they've got to sort of create their own legacy. And I think just bringing up the Celtic just because he was Jordan Larson, if he'd maybe stayed at the youth system at Celtic, if Henrik didn't go to Manchester and Barcelona and do what he did, and young Jordan Larson had stayed at Celtic all these years and came through the youth setup and then came into the first team that way, I think that would have been okay. Kaiser, I think that would have been a bit more, but then coming back to Celtic, it's a big thing. He's got a big heavy weight on his shoulder, and that is the weight of his dad and the name in the background. Do you know what I mean? So Paul says Abada will be gone, in my opinion. Um, will it be? Will it be the? I don't think it'll be January because he's not going to go in January because he's never been fit. Political reasons. Abada will leave. No, he won't. No, he won't. He won't leave because of that. Don't believe everything that the Scottish media tells you. I don't believe that for 1 minute. Don't believe that for 1 minute. And any 3 players away on international duty, you can get a postponement with. I don't think Celtic will go down the postponement route, to be honest. I don't think so at all. Don't think so at all. Just go out and buy Shankland. No, because he's a current bun. If Barra stays, I hope he's treated well. Of course, smell the glove. The Celtic fans will not come out and say anything. And even even the Green Brigade will not come out and slate Leela Bada. The boys will not come out and say anything about Leela Bada, right? I know enough of them from years gone by to know that will not happen. They'll back the player. They'll fly Palestine flags, but they will not. They never slated flipping near bitten all the time that he was at Celtic. So this nonsense that's going on just now really needs to stop. That's just my take on it personally. Julio says, "I'm not going to sign superstars, but I'd like to sign someone experienced players that will give you an 8 out of 10 performance every week. That will bring the younger players on to the next level. That means spending some money. Will the Celtic board do? Will the Celtic board do that?" And personally, I hope they back Brendan, and I hope they give Brendan the type of players that he's looking for to come in and make the squad more experienced. We've had enough of the. We've got enough prospect players. We've got players that can come in and be the succession in 2 years' time. But what we really need is players that are going to come in and do it right now. Is January the time to do that? Previously, it's not. Previously, it's not. Fueling the flames. Yep, that's all people are doing is fueling the flames. Baz. Just oh God, that's what guys has got to say. We've all been screaming out for the same 3 positions, strengthening goalkeeper, left back, and a striker. But it's showtime, intent with the caliber of signings. That's what we ask with 75 million in the bank. And if Jeremy Frimpong, big news is today that Jeremy Frimpong could be getting his big move this coming transfer window with the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, and Liverpool sniffing about the player. He will go for £50 million plus at least. Celtic are due 30% of any transfer for Jeremy Frimpong. So when you add that, that's money that'll come straight into the coffers of Celtic Park this season. So even when that money comes in, we should go out and spend it on players. Spend it on players. That's just my opinion, but you know, that's anyway. Samuel says there was another striker at Celtic who was interested in striker, but they wanting more money. I think we should back and look at him. Was that the guy from was it Norway? Was it Brøndby? I can't remember. Brøndby during the summer. Did he not sign another deal, or did he go somewhere else? Can't. Champions League money during this year. Uh, Next year, we'll need players. 100%. Yep, yep, definitely. Well, it was like a Morgan here. Hey, says Lanky. It's a bit like Celtic Park, isn't it? Chippy Buzz. Chippy, yes. Is it salt and sauce in Fife? It's not really anything in Fife. Salt and sauce is an Edinburgh thing. You do obviously get salt and sauce, which is just brown sauce and vinegar in a bottle, which is the most bizarre thing ever. Just get brown sauce and vinegar. Anyway, no, I don't really know. I don't really know. It's been a while. Kyogo's great in Scotland. Hate to say he's not good enough for the Champions League. Is it the fact, Martin, he's not good enough for the Champions League because he's not getting enough service? Is he not getting enough service because we're not playing good enough and not playing? I know we like to think that we play nice attacking football, and that's what we've spoke about over the last couple of seasons. Um, but is it because he's not getting the service? Let's face it. In Madrid, he done absolutely nothing because we never got forward. You know, you can be the best striker in the world. We could have went out and we could have got the old goofy teeth Ronaldo at the weight he's at now, and he still couldn't have done nothing. You know, we could have got him in, and he's probably around about 20 stone now. You could have got him and played in the position that Kyogo played, and he would have just done the same amount of work as Kyogo. I'm just saying, you know, if we can't give them the service, and that comes down to the quality of players again. The quality of players that we've got can't do it at the Champions League. So, Paul Bert says never wanted Phillips in the first place. Kaiser says what you done over here, Baz. Where do I go to so I can buy a pint? Well, I'll get back to you, Kaiser, because we're trying to get tickets for the game on Saturday. If not, I might just go to the Celtic Supporters Club on London Road. But I'm back because I have had a little bit of good news, and it was for family reasons. And folk put it on earlier. I am now a granddad. Yep. So yes, daughter gave birth. So that's why I had to fly. Yeah, quick flight back for a week. Yeah. Samuel, Celtic was interested. We've done that one. Hi guys, just in from work. What have you missed? I'm on back up. You've missed. We're talking about Celtic could be in for a big windfall. Finally, the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, and Liverpool are going to make an offer for Jeremy Frimpong. Celtic have got a massive 30% sell-on clause for his transfer fee. Bayer Leverkusen are looking for £50 million plus for him. Celtic fans in Derry, with the sleep out in Derry, managed to raise over £15,000 for the Christmas appeal, which is fantastic for the sleep out for that. All the money raised from the Christmas appeal in Derry will go to charities in Ireland. So that's Celtic keeping and sticking to their roots. And the big news that's kicking around today is Sydney Van Hooijdonk Celtic have made an interest to Bologna that they are interested in taking Sydney Van Hooijdonk on loan. On loan. Would that be a good thing considering he's only played 45 minutes of football all season? All season. I don't think it would be a good deal personally. Next transfer window needs to be Brendan's this time. It does that. Nah, we're going to miss that one out again. Just look at the suspensions and injuries we'll be facing for the rest of the Champions League games with no Palmer either. Oh, Tati. Yes. I mean, could you imagine sitting saying that going into the Champions League games and Palmer's not injured? You know, but anyway, enough of that. We spoke about that this morning. Shankland, there's a lot of people saying Shankland will get goals for us. he is one of them. He's one of them for the other side of the city. So would he come to Celtic in the first place? They definitely could not afford him. What happened to the Danish striker, the Brøndby links? I'm sure he got a move in the summer. Good in the summer. John Shirley's at it again. Baz, I told you life is compared back to the nose. Yeehaw. Shackman before the Buns. I don't think so. Lankey is at 100%. Want him on a 3-year deal, hanging around the team. He's talking about Shankland? Shankland's real option, but he wears Sevco Jamas. He does that. He wears Rangers jammies. So Champions League quality players. We're back to the Champions League quality players, says Ian 1888. To get Champions League quality players, we should be looking to play in a better league. Scotland is not an attractive league for players. That's a conversation that I'd love to have. We're around about 800 or 900 fan subscribers on the channel and all talking about it, because I think it's something where the Scottish game needs to improve. See, when you look at this, since we're talking about Scotland and the Scottish game, when you look at the Scotland game last night, the Scotland manager, although he was linked to Celtic before he took the Scotland job, he's done a fantastic thing. There is some games he would play five at the back, and that wouldn't, you could say, well, teams in Scotland play that. But he's took what you could say is bang average players, and he's got them playing a system that he knows works. Why don't managers in Scotland go to the training camps with Stevie Clarke and see what Stevie Clarke's doing? Do you know, there's a lot of good young managers out there, but they should be looking at the Scotland setup and going, rather than sitting back for 80 minutes of the game, let's look at what Scotland are doing, and it's like Scotland went out and beat Spain. Like Spain and the power that they were years ago when they won everything. But Scotland went out and dominated and beat Spain. Fair enough, they got their totties the next time round, but they beat Spain. That was the most important thing. They beat Norway. They beat Norway in Norway. They drew with Norway last night. When you look at the results that Scotland have had, Scotland qualified for the Euros before England. Teams in Scotland and managers in Scotland need to look at that. Need to look at it and need to look at what he's done, and maybe that would change the league. It's down to the managers, the way that the league is, the way that the poor football is, and the tactics of this sitting back for 80 minutes and then having a go with the last 10 minutes is it's not good to watch. No, at least Stevie Clarke's got a load of, I'm not going to say bang average players, but a lot of them are playing at a decent level down in England. But he's got them playing in a good system. You like when he was at Kilmarnock. When he was at Kilmarnock, he had Kilmarnock right up there, and he went, at the end of the season, who's Rangers? Bye bye Rangers. It was brilliant, and he had Kilmarnock playing good football. Why can't other managers in Scotland replicate that in some kind of way? Turnbull is off. He's got the highest stats in our mids with Matt O'Reilly per game, and it's no wonder. It's a win for him. I think Turnbull will be off, and we spoke about this a couple of minutes ago. I think Turnbull will be off purely for the fact he's not going to get in the squads for Germany. And I think personally, David Turnbull is a better player than some of the guys that we've got playing in midfield. He can score goals from a distance. I think he's got a lot more to offer Scotland than, I know a player came on last night and scored for Scotland that used to be at Celtic, but I think Turnbull's a better player. I think Turnbull is that better player. So for that being said, I think Turnbull will go down to England at the end of his contract. I think Turnbull's already decided to leave. I think that also Turnbull's already decided for the betterment of his career. It's not for the fact that he doesn't like being at Celtic. I think it's the fact that he wants game time. He knows that he can get more money down south than what Celtic will probably pay him, and he'll get a game every week. And he'll get to. It's all about getting that opportunity to play every week and try and get into that Scotland team. As far as he's concerned. That's all he can be thinking about. Well, the glove says, can't blame Turnbull for leaving. The abuse he gets for being Scottish. Same with Taylor and Forrest. I've spoken about that many a time. Celtic fans are brilliant at singing. Jamesy Forrest, it took him years to get his own song. We're going to really struggle if we don't start signing the best of the Scottish players we can get. We can't keep having Champions League squad players who contribute nothing. Danny boy, you've got a point there, but see when you look back and the Celtic team was littered with Scotland players. it was generally during those years that we failed to qualify for the Champions League, unfortunately. I do think we do need to get the McGinn. Let me get, Lawwell not signing McGinn when we had the chance was probably the biggest. There's a couple of players that are at the top of their game that you would like to see at Celtic. When it comes to it, I think when you look back, history tells us when we've got a team littered with Scotland players, we tend not to qualify for the Champions League, unfortunately. But it's good that we're getting other players in from around the world, but we need to we need to get the best Scottish players and get better players from around the world and around Europe. Given the level of corruption in the league, Celtic should quit the league for resistant strength and explore options for a European Super League. It'll be interesting to see the changes with the Champions League next year because I think the Champions League is heading towards that type of thing. Obviously, they've got to contain this disillusionment of the likes of your Barcelona, your Inter Milan, your Juventuses, all these teams in Europe that are fed up with the money that Sky pumps into England. They're wanting a bigger chunk of the money. They don't get that bigger chunk of the money in the normal leagues, believe it or not. And I think it'll be an interesting time in the next couple of years when it comes to European football, because I think it's going to become more prominent in the league side of it, and your normal league football will get less and less. No one expected Jota to leave. That was a massive, unexpected bid. Was it Martin? Because we spoke about this earlier in the video. We said that, when the manager last season said in his last interview, look, stop asking me about my future because let's face it, there's a lot of these players that are on this pitch today will not be at Celtic next season. That was the manager last season, so he obviously knew that there was something in the water. That's why we brought in so many players this summer. And so I think they were expecting some kind of bid, but you never know. And the fact that right after the dance, the Player of the Season awards last season, Jota did put on the players of 21-22 have graduated. When you put something like that on, they've graduated, it generally means that you're moving on. If Mikey Johnson signs a new contract, he's either got no ambition or he's delusional. I think it's probably a bit of both. We should, of course, postpone games if we can. I don't think Celtic will. I don't think Celtic will because if they get a little run of games and if they get a little run of games and they get their head away in front, we're then chasing it. We're chasing it. So I think Brendan would rather keep us in front, and if we keep on winning, that's as long as we keep on winning. We can't accept that we'll win every game. But they're going to put up a bit of a fight as they do because they'll put up a bit of a fight once they change manager. That's one thing about them. And then the reality hits home that the manager's washed and he's absolutely garbage. Later on, we need to play catch up. But here you guys, hope everyone's doing well. The Heat of Lisbon. I slated Ben at the time because he was that. It was that. Sign Shankland, stick him in the B team. That's the end of that. Supporting the people of Palestine is not a polar position, just like Pada, because he's Israeli. Big Joe Hart is English papers. Is Joe Hart in the English papers flying in the flames? Is he? I need to look at that. Is he? Get Joe Hart out the door as quick as you can. John Shirley, Baz. I mean, yes, you can. But you could try a cat in it. It is bigger than what it is. It is his spare room. Well, his man cave. It is a man cave. With his telly and that there. Anyway, right, let's get on to the next one. Not excited about January incomings, especially Pedro. Pedro in charge. Pedro back in charge for his first window, for his first two transfer windows. He didn't spend big money last summer. But what we did do is we brought in the usual Pedro signings. Anyway, let's move on. Hi Baz, the unrepentant Fenian. Hi Baz. It's far too early for guys to sack the board. Let's face it. We're going to make any kind of progress under the boards. We would have already, if we're serious about making any progress, make change first. You're a man right after my own beliefs. it's all good saying that we've got 70 odd million in the bank, but we do need. I think the worst thing that happened to Celtic is remember the guy that we brought in from rugby, that was chased out the door. He wanted to change Celtic. He wanted to change the way that we were run as a club. And when him and Ange Postecoglou came in, I was really hoping that there was going to be a tidal wave change in Celtic and everything. Ange Postecoglou managed to do it on the pitch, but behind the scenes it didn't happen. And the guy that came through the rugby background was chased out the door because he wasn't part of the old Celtic backroom handshake and stuff. Um, 117 watching there, 117 trips piloting on how many thumbs up? 107, 113. We've got 51 thumbs up. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button with the VHS collection. Do you know what? I'm sitting in a room that's got my old record collection. So I'm going to pull this one out. See what the fuck one is. Oh, there's a cracker. TTF, TTF, the bounce. Rhythmic state. Oh, dimension. And then an old Oasis album. My decks are downstairs. Might have to file it. No, my decks are in another room actually. Right, let's get back on. That's I just seen that comment. Surprise, surprise, Norway target Taylor. Yes, it is. But the fact that they targeted Taylor, you've got to admit, big Christopher Aya. I think we got rid of Christopher Aya just at the right time. I've had tickets. I've given Baz. Oh, perfect, man. Grandad Baz. Go, legend. Cheers for that. Congratulations, Wayne. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Congratulations, old Tyler. Cheers for all that. Massive congratulations. I've got these up just for them. Yes, John and nah, because I could take them over to Spain. Take them over to Spain and then get the hot weather. John, I'm going to jump through the calls. Why take O from Italy when we are on bench? I wish I could get that. That's great. Congrats. I'm just going to jump through some of these comments. When did we sign Ryan Kent? When did we sign Ryan Kent? Right, I'm just going to jump through them. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine signing Ryan Kent and we turned him into an absolute world beater? Nah, it's never going to happen. Get the turntable on as well as does a bit of scratching low. Probably around about. I don't know, there's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crates of old records. 6. 6. It's good to be home. As that's what I call music talk. No, it's not. No, it's not. A lot of old school. What's that? What one's this? Oh, there's a cracker. Where the hell did that come from? That's still got the plastic on it. That's my mum's. Anyway, right. Get the turntables on Bass Oasis. Tell me about it. Bass, the cheesy quaver. It was back in the 1990s. I was in a techno band back in the 1990s. So actually in 2 techno bands back in the 1990s. And one of them comes from, what's it called? Come on, the other one came off Erskine. The other one came off Erskine. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. So yeah, there's a massive collection here. And there's also Nick Cave's put his X-rated stuff somewhere. There's actually, oh my goodness. Now this, that's a tune. Do the right thing. Not talking about a black and white thing. I remember that. Anyway, how did we get onto that? See, this is because I'm back in this room. That Abbey's worth a few quid. Yes, is that. It is that. Shirley says, Baz Taylor, the sailor, sees Baz still into bow in Saturday. Not, I don't listen to him on a Saturday because I'd be asking on the internet and looking up his radio station. Anyway, right, how long have we been on? We've been on for 55 minutes. I am going to order a chippy. We'll be live tomorrow morning. We'll do a live tomorrow morning if I can get up early enough, 'cause I slept in this morning. I'll be honest, I woke up at 7 o'clock and my phone was saying 7 o'clock, my watch was saying a different time, and I had to sync everything. Anyway, get GPS pass on. That's it. You find your notes. Hangar 13, the good old days in air. Hangar 13 in air, the Metro in Saltcoats, cracking clubs. Hangar 13, um, Pure in Edinburgh. You remember that's really going back. You can remember Pure in Edinburgh, the Nightcrawler. I've probably got the Nightcrawlers in here somewhere. I'm not gonna dig through them. Let's see, what's this one? Oh, here is a tune. Here is a tune. Now that is an absolute tune. Right, anyway, that's enough for tonight. Gonna get a chippy. Big shout out to the one and only Andrew. It was 5 a.m. in Melbourne. It's probably now about 6 a.m. in Melbourne. He's probably way off to work. Thank you, Andrew, for watching. Thank you to everyone else who joined in tonight. I mean, for honest, I had one today, John. That's if I'm popping into the site. No worries. Away for a chippy. Absolutely can't wait to have a proper chip shop. So on that note, have a fantastic evening. See you tomorrow morning, 9:30. I think we'll go live 9:30 tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow night also nice tomorrow night also at 6 o'clock. So make sure you join me for 9:30 in the morning. We'll do some Celtic live chat, morning chat, and then we'll get back to 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all over the world.